Guys, it is the end of 2020. It's a week and a half before Thanksgiving here. And full disclosure, I filmed this whole intro right before, realized that I wasn't actually recording. And now I'm a little irritated because that's how life is. Guys, we're in the podcast, we're in the office right now. I apologize for the entire mess right here. I am in wedding, commercial, portrait, death season right now. And although it has been a slow 2020 for everybody, I've been lucky that I've been very, very busy. And in turn, I feel like I'm drowning a little bit. And although I didn't really feel like I had time to film this video, I wanted to film it out for you guys because this is something I promised a lot of people that I would be filming out, especially a lot of second shooters and assistants who have been working with me over the last year, and people over on Skillshare who have been asking about this. So if you found me on from Skillshare, know that I'm not doing Skillshare anymore because of their customer service. The way they work things was horrendous, was horrible. So I've decided to pull everything back to YouTube where my roots are for you guys. Today's video is fairly simple, guys. We are going to be talking about the wedding day timeline. And of those of you that think it's weird that a photographer is talking about a wedding day timeline and preparing it, I want you to know that the more that you have in say of what happens during the wedding day, the more successful you're going to be with capturing those images and documenting things that your client needs. There's no more going to be, oh my God, you forgot to get a picture of me and Aunt Sally, me and Uncle George. Oh, did you get a picture of this? You didn't get a picture of this. You only got one picture of me and my son. It's stuff like that that we can weed out so that you know when the ceremony starts, when the bride gets ready, when the groom gets ready. So we're going to kind of jump into it. I'm going to show you the back end of what I do and how I get this information. And we will do a separate video on how I take that information and implement it into a timeline itself. So let's get into it. What's going on, guys? It's Jeramie with Jeramie Lou Photography. Thank you so much for tuning in. Guys, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Video helps you anyway, give it a thumbs up, and then click that bell for notifications. It'll tell you every time I come on. It is an extremely windy day out there. Had to cancel the entire day, so I got to chill a little bit in the little PJs here. Eyes are red from allergies because of the wind. And this is just the daily life right here. And as I look at the screen, this all gets me very anxious on the dirtiness of the office right here. So guys, like I said in the intro, a wedding day timeline is important. What I used to do in the past before I used a service called Pixify, which I'll show you guys in a second, is I would have a template Word doc that I would send per client about 4 months in advance. 4 months before the wedding starts, we send it to them and we get the information that we need to implement a timeline. And then about a month to 2 months before, we have an in-person meeting with all that information together, a timeline mock created, and present that to the bride and groom, and hopefully it works out. And in turn, you guys get to create the wedding day flow that you think you should have as a photographer and what works best for you and what you've seen. And I'll go through what I have on a separate video on the way that I think a wedding should flow and what will flow easily. But ultimately, that's your creativity and that's what you do within given reason here, right? So let's pop this baby up right here for you guys to see. Guys, Pixify.com is amazing. It's run by a photographer named Tim, who is freaking like a genius. I don't know if he sleeps. I don't know what he does. I'm sure he has a team by now. And basically, I pay a service, and this sends out my invoices, my contracts, my questionnaires, automatically, automated, auto everything, right? So if you guys are interested in looking at this, I have a code in my description. If you guys can't find that for any reason, just email me. This will get you some free time to try it out. I've been with them for, I want to say 6-7 years. I know there's something on here that shows me how long oh, 7, the 7 right here. I've been here with Pixify for 7 years, and it has saved me so much freaking time sending out my reminders, my tip emails, my invoices to my clients where I don't even have to do anything. My business just runs for me. It's like having an assistant for $25 a month. Do the things that I shouldn't be doing as a creative and as a business owner. So this is what we send out, guys. We send out a list of 50 questions that our client will fill out. We try to do it about 4 months in advance. Luckily, or hopefully, this will give them time to get to us. Hopefully this will give them time to get to us. And what that will do is they will get us the information that we need. So this little description right here that you can send in an email or whatever, say, hey, this is super important. I need this information so I can build your timeline. The more that you get me, the better I will be prepared and help you with your wedding. One of the biggest selling points that I have with my clients is I always tell them, hey, I am able to set up the timeline for your wedding. And then they go, oh my God, that's so helpful, because not everybody has a coordinator. But if they do have a coordinator, I still need this information. And then I can work with the coordinator to go, hey, this is what I'm hoping for. Because sometimes a coordinator will fill in a lot. They have to work with everybody. And they don't necessarily get to worry about me as a photographer and my selfish needs. So I get to work with them. And it's always been a match made in heaven when I kind of go, thank you for that information. Here's what I'm hoping for. Can we get something close? And they'll always work with you. So coordinator or not, we send this stuff out. And that there's been a few instances where a coordinator will fill this out for their client. That's more of the higher end coordinators who the client says, I'll give you all the money. You do what you got to do. Make my wedding amazing. So let's go through this timeline. Like I said, we're going to go through this. I'm going to tell you why I'm asking these questions, if it's not obvious. And then we'll have a separate video on how we implement these questions into our questionnaire. Okay. So we start this from top to bottom. It's in a nice little format here, and just get the answers however you guys want. It can be a Google Doc. It can be a sit-down meeting. You can ask them over the phone, which I wouldn't recommend. Or you can send them an email template and they can just fill it out in red or something like that to help you out. So we're asking questions, right? The first thing is, where will the bride have her final preparations? Where is the bride getting her dress on is how this is asking. You need to know the location, and you want to get as much information as you can, the phone number, the address, the coordinator's name if there's somebody there, the venue's email if you can. They don't have to fill out everything, just as much as they can, and then I fill out the rest. Honestly, most times people just fill out the name and that's it. So this is where the bride is getting ready. Why do you need to know that? You need to know where the bride's getting dressed. It might not be at the same place where she's getting married. It might not be even the same place where she's getting her makeup done. So this might have 2 locations on there. And then also part of the venue here, do you have more information on that location? Approximately how far is that location from the ceremony site? You want to kind of pre-plan how far it is to drive. So say they're getting ready at a house that's 15 minutes away. When you build your timeline, you need to know that you have a 15-minute gap to drive here to there. That was my biggest mistake in the beginning of the year. I never put my drive time in, and I was always behind. And it took me a while to figure it out. I mean, I knew as I was doing it, but I never implemented it. Where's the ceremony going to be at? Obviously, when you book them at the time you're booking them, most likely you're going to know this, but let's get this in writing. What information do you have from the ceremony site? Again, website, name, email. So you want to get that. How far is the website from the reception, or the ceremony from the reception, right? If there's a 3 location, there are a few weddings where I have a 3 or 4 location wedding, and they're going to go from location to location, location. So we want to know that as well. Where is the reception? And if you're lucky, and if you have a chill wedding, everything we just went through is the same exact information. Say it's like the Tannenbaum or Whitney Peak or something, you have that. And I just basically on the timeline, just put all those in one spot, and I don't have to move. But we ask these questions just in case. If you just ask one question, where's your ceremony at? And you don't ask where the reception at, you may not understand that it's 2 different locations, and that will make or break a lot of stuff, especially family photos, who's going where, when people are leaving, and so forth, right? So that's kind of the venue information, just the general information of everything. Now, this is going to be asking just random questions. Now, this is in some sort of order, but it's not really in order. You guys can ask this however you want. Just get this information. So the first thing I ask them is, can you please list your cell phone, your fiance's cell phone, as well as the best bridesmaid and best groomsman. I don't call them maid of honor. I don't call them best man, because sometimes it's opposite sex, to get in touch with your wedding day, in case your 2 are away from your cell. On the wedding day, the people that I text and email the most are going to be the best man, best groomsman, or the best bridesmaid, because usually the bride and the groom, they don't have their phones on them. They're not ready for it. And this is to find out room locations. Maybe where are you guys at? Maybe make sure you get this for the groom, whatever. We want to have these direct cell phone numbers so that we can call them and be prepared for that day, just in case the bride and groom don't have their phones or information on them at that time. Simple yes or no question. Does a groom want getting ready photos? We build that in our timeline. Some grooms do, some grooms don't. Most grooms do, but if they don't, it's not in the timeline. We're not going to assume that they do. Pre-ceremony, do you have a preference if the guys have their photos taken before girls or vice versa? I like to ask this question because sometimes the bride wants to get ready first. If they don't have a preference at all, I'm shooting the dudes first and I'm going to the girls later. I usually end all pre-ceremony photos, bride and bridesmaid, groom and groomsman, maybe first look or whatever. I always end that a half hour before the ceremony. This allows me a chance to get in and shoot venue shots, right, of the reception all decorated pretty before anybody gets in there. So I'm telling them that right now, when they look at the timeline, there'll be a 30-minute gap. If they're getting married at 5 p.m. on their ceremony, I am done at 4:30 shooting them, and then I'm going to go shoot that. So this question is basically asking them to the effect of, I'm done a half hour before. Is that okay? Or would you rather me be done sooner or closer or whatever? And this is more information just to let them know. This topic right here, please tell me any restrictions or guideline of your ceremony location. If there's any time restrictions, how early or late permitted to be on location. Is the pastor or the father or the priest or the officiant, are they weird about things? Are you not allowed to be there at a certain time? Or do we have to leave the ceremony site at a certain time? What information do I need to know to make this wedding work? Is your ceremony religious? You want to plan on any type of religious traditions in that wedding? And I highly recommend, if you don't know the difference between like a Jewish wedding, an Asian wedding, Catholic wedding, Christian wedding, and all that, to take some time, watch some videos on it, research it on the ceremony practices themselves. And this way it'll give you an opportunity to be prepared on things that are going to shoot that you may not realize. I mean, if you're new to weddings, you only know what you see on TV. And every time I watch TV, I'm always like, where's the photographer? The photographer's never there. Is there a time set for the ceremony? What time is the ceremony? How long will the ceremony last? And at this time, is there a time you need to be at your reception? What time do you need to walk into your reception? So now I know that the ceremony is going to be from 5, about a half hour to 5:30, and they need to be into their reception by 6:30. I'm not going to be that douchey photographer that takes them out until 8 p.m. shooting because I want to shoot them. If they have to be in the ceremony for their intro or dinner at 6:30, I'm going to build my timeline to make sure that happens. If I don't feel like I have enough time, then that's when I talk to them and say, guys, I only get 5 minutes with you. Are you okay with that? Or can we build time somewhere else? Can we possibly move the ceremony? Can we possibly do a first look? Can we do something? And it gets us prepared, because the last thing you want is, oh my God, your ceremony's done at 5:30. And then we still have to do bride and groom pictures, the whole bridal party, family photos after, and then 6 o'clock happens. You don't want to be shocked like that. And you also don't want to be the person that misses those photos. And then you also want to be the person that makes dinner late, because nobody likes a late dinnerer. Do you plan on seeing each other before the ceremony? Are you having a first look? Great question. If yes, so this is actually a big one. If yes, would you like your family photos completed before or after ceremony? The beauty with the first look is you have an opportunity to do those family photos before the ceremony, split everybody up a half hour before, and then you don't have to do it after the ceremony. You can ask that question, build it in your timeline if you want. It's actually pretty rare that it happens before, because you have to make sure the family shows up there, but it has happened before. And this question is just a great general question that you'll ask him anyways, but are there any specific locations for your family photos, bride and groom photos? Like, is there any spots within your reception area, ceremony area, that you're like, I have to have that shot. I love that location. This is why we're here. You need to know that, because if you shoot at a place with a great fountain and they love this fountain and you never take a shot in the fountain, they're gonna let you know for sure on a Yelp review. Now this one is actually pretty important here. COVID. I don't have COVID. Five o'clock. So this one's pretty important, guys. This is the family photo list, right? I have 5 photos listed here that I think are good. If all they ever got with these 5 family photos, they're actually pretty good. So it's bride and groom with bride's parents, bride and groom with bride's immediate family, whoever they consider immediate family, but usually that's like brothers, sisters, parents, kids that they have, and grandparents, like the immediate. So no aunts, uncles, or cousins or friends. Bride and groom with both immediate families, bride and groom with groom's parents, bride and groom with groom's immediate family. These create big enough photos, big enough gaps for the most important people. And then I have a section right here that they can fill out any combination that they want. Bride and groom with Aunt Sally, bride and groom with Uncle George, bride and Uncle George, groom and Uncle George. Family members or people that mean a lot to them that they have to get family photos in. This right here, I always tell them, is the most important part of this questionnaire. It makes sure that the people that I need to document at their wedding will have at least that photo with them. If it's not on this list, it's never guaranteed at the wedding that I'm going to get that. I'm not going to be chasing people down. I'm not going to be finding Aunt Sally, because I don't even know who Aunt Sally is, and then have to find the bride and groom during the reception and try to get them together to do photos. Yes, you can do that, but why not just build it in here so that Aunt Sally gets her photos, and somebody might get sick at the reception and you don't know. So the other thing I write on here is, please allow 2 minutes for each additional shot, meaning that if they give me a list of 30 photos, it will take me an hour to shoot. We tell them this so that they understand that they can't give me a list of 45 pictures to do. First off, that's not the most important people at the wedding. You ultimately become a photo booth person, and that's a great way to refer a photo booth out, but it's not why you're hired to be there. It's not the point of family photos. If they want to do that, cool. Just make sure it's built in the timeline. They're going to be losing out on other things that you should be shooting, or you're going to push a reception way later. Now, does it take me 2 minutes to set up a photo for photo to photo? No, but it gives me a max amount of time just in case I'm missing cousin George who's over at the bar, or dad who went to go repark the car real quick, right? But this allows us to get those people that are supposed to be in the family photos ready for that. Next question, are there any family situations I need to know about? Deaths, divorces, stepmom doesn't want to be close to real mom. Dad and grandpa haven't seen each other forever. Dad has passed away. We're doing something for him right here. You want to know this information beforehand before you go, all right, I need my bride's parents to come up. And then all of a sudden there's dad with stepmom and real mom, and they don't want to be in the family photo. So there's a lot of times where my family photo list will have bridegroom, dad, stepmom, bridegroom, real mom, 2 separate photos, never together, right? Cool. Couple things that I like to ask as well is I need the name and relationship of all the bride's family. I need her parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, and all that. That way, I'm not saying, hey, you know what, I go in kind of clairvoyant and I know their name when I go in. Oh, hey, George, how's it going? Yeah. Congratulations. Hope you're super excited. Your daughter looks beautiful. She's going to be an amazing bride today. Just get to know their names, research it, study it. My assistant constantly will be in my ear with our walkie-talkies going like, dad's name is this, mom's name is this. So I go up kind of knowing what's to go on, how many siblings and all that fun stuff. Same with the groom here. It'll also show you guys the balance of how many people per side of the family are. Sometimes the bride is really heavy. The groom has 1 or 2. So you know that it's mostly for the bride that they're doing this. Something's going on with the groom side as well. Are there any special traditions taking place at your ceremony? A sand ceremony, releasing of doves, bubble ceremony, something that's happening that I need to know to get documented, smashing on glass. What do I need to know so that I can be mentally prepared for that? And you can actually put it in your timeline as well for yourself to know that like they're going to be tying a knot. They're going to be walking through a bunch of flowers being tossed up so that you're prepared with your lighting or whatever you need to do, right? And then we go into reception here. So everything right there was kind of up to ceremony. We go into reception. What's your first dance song? Why do I ask this question? It's actually not relevant to me anymore, but when I used to do pre-COVID, their viewings in my studio, I would actually use this first song to show them a slideshow of about 100 images at my studio while I try to sell them albums. So if it's like Ed Sheeran's All Songs, whatever, that song plays in the background and it allows me to have an emotional connection to their imagery, to their first dance. And then it's a lot more emotional when they get to view that. But if you send them a slideshow, if you send them a gift in a year from now and you want to include their song, first dance song, this is a powerful tool to have. Just ask them that question. And that way it works. And also that song will kind of play in your head. And I recommend listening to it in case you're kind of drifting off when that first song happens. I mean, you'll know when the first dance happens, but if you don't, it'll help you out a little bit. Do you have a formal exit planned? Is there anything special going on after the reception, after the ceremony that you need to know about so that you can be prepared? The answer says, this one says, if yes, tell me what you're doing. What time does the reception end? Is it ending at 10? Is it at 11? It's really important for you to know so that you can time your end time. If it's over at 10, maybe you can be done at 9:30. Maybe you can be done at 10. But if they're doing a grand exit, then you might be done at 10:30. How many people or guests are you expecting? This just gives me a gauge on how big or small the wedding is going to be, how much gear I might need to bring, how many additional photos I'll be kind of taking around. It doesn't affect pricing. It just kind of lets me know how big the wedding is going to be. For parking to expect, my mental kind of breakdown. It's not really an important question. This next section is pretty easy, guys. You're going to want to get a list of all of the vendors that are coming to that wedding. If you have a coordinator, they're probably going to give this to you already, but I always ask this information. What do I do with this information? I send an email out to every single vendor at the wedding a few days before. Hey guys, I'm Jeramie. I may, if I have 2 emails, one that I've worked with them before, one that I haven't, but let's say I haven't. I am a photographer out of Reno and I am super excited to shoot in this wedding. I will be documenting your stuff as well. So if there's anything that you need from me while I'm documenting, please let me know or beforehand. And I'm happy to give you imagery so that you can promote me and refer me in the future, and maybe we can work together again. My referrals come from brides and vendors, guys. This helps me so much where I can get their information. I for sure need their name of their business, the name of the person that owns the business or it's working, and their email that I can send them imagery to later on. So I'm looking for my wedding coordinator, if they have a videographer, if they have a florist, cake artist, band or DJ, makeup artist, hairstylist. Where'd you get your wedding dress? What kind of wedding dress is it? Is it a zip up? Is it a button? Is it a tie up? And that dictates how long the bride needs to get ready. So if they're lacing it up, it's going to take longer than a zip up, right? Really important information to know. And then are there any other vendors that are playing a part, like lighting, linens, officiant, musicians, photo booth, stuff like that? This also gives me an opportunity when I meet with them to say, hey guys, I know that you gave me this list. I know that you don't have a DJ. I highly recommend having a DJ. Here's who I refer. You can actually kind of push and refer your vendors that you know as well to get in the game with you guys close to that wedding date. And you'll see this and you can always send an email saying, hey, I noticed that you don't have a DJ. You don't have this. You don't have this. You don't have this. I highly recommend talking to these people for that. And that'll just help your frienders as well. And again, referring each other. The next part of my questionnaire is the wedding party. I want to know about the most important people that I'll be shooting at that day, which is the groomsmen and bridesmaids, bridegroom, flower girls, ring bearer, all that stuff, right? So how many bridesmaids are you having? What are their first and last names? It'll be the same for the guys. How many groomsmen are you having? What are their first and last names? I used to use this a lot when I used to push on social media a ton. I would actually add all of them as friends on Facebook. And that way they got to know me. And if they didn't want to be my friend, that's totally fine. Now I kind of push it on Instagram. I actually look for them on Instagram, follow them on Instagram, and hopefully they follow me back. But this way I'm in contact with them, or they're in contact with me via social media. It's a lot easier than email. But also, again, it gives me a chance to direct them by name at the day. And instead of just saying, hey, you, it allows me to figure out who they are, why they are, and just make the day a little more personal as well. It also lets me prepare on how big of a bridal party I'm going to have. This is a great tool. Same with ring bearer and all that stuff. I will tell you, I have shot a lot of weddings based off of other weddings. So bridesmaids are being in another wedding, then I shoot their wedding and so forth. So a lot of my referrals are, like I said, from weddings and vendors. So brides and vendors. So it's easy push, guys. If they see you working and they love what you do and they love how you treat your clients, they're going to book you. You never know when, but I always get a lot of those whole, Jeramie, as soon as I find a husband or as soon as I find a boyfriend and he proposes, I will hire you for our wedding. And, people always joke, but 3 or 4 years down the road, that'll happen. And I get another wedding. Kind of the extras. These are just a few more 4 questions that'll kind of end this for us, right? Do you know at what point you'll depart for your honeymoon and when will you return? I like to get their sneak peeks out. And I do like 10 to 15 sneak peeks on Facebook to kind of push out so they can push out for me as well before they leave their honeymoon. Also, I've known that if you're trying to sell something to them, so say you're trying to do a preview or get them to sell, I know a lot of photographers will try to send them stuff before they leave on their honeymoon, before they spend their extra money on photography stuff. So they go on a honeymoon to Cabo or something. They spend all their money in Cabo and they come back and they realize they don't have any money. They can't buy canvases. They can't buy albums anymore. I don't sell that way, but you just kind of want to know where they're going, when they're going. Maybe send them a honeymoon thing. Maybe if you're even more adventurous, you can find the location that they're at and send them a bottle of champagne. And how cool would that be, man? How cool would that be if you're a bride and groom at Cabo, at a resort, and all of a sudden your photographer sends you a bottle of champagne saying, congratulations. Holy crap, right? That little extra stuff. So whatever you want to use that for, I highly recommend. For me, it was more of just get it out before they leave on their honeymoon. While they're on their honeymoon, I can post a little thing and say, hey, these two are on their honeymoon. They're over in Cabo. They're having a great time. I can't wait for them to see the photos. La, 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 la. This is actually really important here. Will the address you gave me at booking change once you get married? I don't know about you guys. I book a year and a half before the wedding. The date, the address that I have may be outdated. I just want to update that. So when I send them the USB, canvas, prints, anything like that, I don't send it to an old address. Then you get the headache of having to redo another freaking USB for somebody, right? So you want to make sure you get that. And then the last thing is there anything else you want to tell me? What do you want to tell me on this? And that will end the questionnaire, right? So that's fairly simple on that questionnaire, guys. So It's about 50 questions. It may seem like a lot. They don't have to fill it all at once, but they do have time to fill it out. And you want to make sure that you get these answers. And then the next video that you guys are going to look for is how to implement these answers into that questionnaire itself, what we're using, what we're not using, and how to use it. These have helped me the last 10 years of my business. These questions have pretty much been the same the entire time. Nothing I've really felt that I needed to modify. But if I did, it would be on there. And so you can customize yours to ask questions that may fit your region, that may fit anything that you guys need for them, especially maybe packaging and all that. Did you need to review your contract, blah, 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 whatever you guys want to do. But give them time to fill it out, and then know that most of the time, some of the stuff will be blank. So you're going to have to get that information when you meet with them, and you're going to meet with them about a month before the wedding at Starbucks. Well, it's COVID now, so it's been a lot of Zoom. A month before the wedding to go through their timeline and figure out what the intricacies are of it. I will promise you this extra effort that you're doing for your clients right here is something no other vendor is going to do for them. Most likely you are going to be on top of it, and most likely you're going to be the hero of the wedding. You're going to be prepared. You're going to tell the DJ, you're going to tell the officiant, you're going to tell everybody how the day is going. And the cool thing is this timeline that I create has my logo on it. So everybody gets that with my logo on it. My name's out to all the vendors, and that's how I work. Woo! Dude, that was way longer than I thought. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you're having a good day. Comment, question below. Again, if you need a Pixify code, it's in my description. Amazing company. A lot of us are on there, and it has saved me a ton of time for only $25 a month. Maybe I think it's $19.99 or $24.99. I can't remember what it is. I just pay an auto pay, and it's one of those things where, like, as a business owner, it's nothing for what it does for me. Anyways, guys, hope you're having a good day. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.